Mark's appointment was first announced, the Associated gathered to celebrate, and Mark unveiled his vision for a Jewish Baltimore. A vision of caring, learning, involved, and a socially just community. As we reflect on these four pillars, as they were affectionately known then, I can tell you that Mark embodies all of these qualities himself. One, Mark is a caring leader. First and foremost, Mark cares deeply about the Jewish people, an obvious attribute for someone in his position. But Mark exceeds the norm. The reflection of his own family, his grandparents as Holocaust survivors, drives his passion. Mark can often be quoted as saying, and I've heard this many times this year, "No one will be hungry, no one will be homeless, not on our watch," when he's referring to community members who need basic services. They say the test of leadership is not when the water is calm, but when the seas are rocking. If anything could be said for the past 10 years, it certainly would be that we live in a time of great fluctuation and uncertainty. Mark continues to lead the Associated and this community through these rough times, always with resolve and steadfastness. When more funds were needed for financial assistance, Mark was the first to respond. Where are we going to get the money? He didn't sleep till we found it. This wasn't a choice for him, but it's a basic instinct and an innate responsibility for the Jewish people. It was with that foresight that Baltimore weathered the financial crisis of 2008. Having just recently merged 4 of our social service agencies into what is now the Jewish Community Services. This critical piece of Associated vision to introduce best practices saved millions of dollars for the system, enabling us to survive that economic collapse. But of course, he didn't stop there. Especially when other communities were retracting, the Associated was championing the expansion of service systems, creating Shemesh for children with learning difficulties, growing Chana for victims of domestic violence, fostering a community of volunteerism through the Jewish Volunteer Connection, and putting an emphasis on engagement and leadership, and to nurture and train leadership for the entire community. And I can go on and on. I would be remiss if I also didn't mention how deeply Mark cares for the people who work for him and in the entire agency system. One merely needs to look around the room today and see all the professionals that are here, both current and past, to support Mark. Mark creates a warm, welcoming work environment and is a champion of the role of the Jewish communal professional. He serves in the volunteer role as the national chairman of the Jewish Communal Service Association, a national organization that's there to enhance and build up Jewish communal professionals across the country, a role that Mark views as critical to success for the Jewish organizations. You can also tell by the role, we have dozens and dozens of employees, if not hundreds, that have been with the Associated for 10 years or more. He promotes from within. And his biggest pride was when the Associated was named one of the best places to work by the Baltimore Business Journal. That's number 1. And I'll be very brief on 2, 3, and 4, because time is late and we all want to hear it from Mark. Because I could be here for an hour talking about Mark, because I dream of it at night. Two, is that okay? Just about. It's work in the community. 2, Mark is an involved leader. Never one to pass the responsibility to the next person, Mark is critical to the financial resource development efforts of the Associated. While other major communities experience quite different results, Mark rolls up his sleeves and is at the helm of fundraising, as all of you here in this room know personally. The Associated has seen unprecedented results in its effort under Mark's leadership. The system has brought in over $400 million in charitable donations, corporate contributions, and government grants during his tenure, providing the lifeblood of 14 beneficiary agencies and several overseas partners, which work on advancing overseas goals. Now guys, you must be wondering, where's that $400 million going? It ain't going to you. Mark is doing what you guys know he does best, right Eli? Helping the Jewish people. That's what he does. This is pretty incredible, Mark. 3, Mark is a proponent of education. One of the highlights of Mark's tenure so far has been the successful implementation of Year 2000 Community Studies, a study which casts light on the challenges and opportunities for the community. Analysis of the study birthed 24 significant recommendations for integration in the associated system, all which have been implemented. Now, 10 years later, in 2012, the Associated embarked on its next community study that will continue to provide the data that will inform leaders how to address critical issues and trends facing the Jews of Baltimore. And number 4, and finally, Mark is an advocate of social justice. Knowing the work of the Associated that extends beyond the Jewish community, Mark is an important team member in the Baltimore landscape. Using his passion for people, an unparalleled ability to form relationships, and his knowledge of community, Mark offers the Associated as an advocate for social justice for all. Addressing issues big and small, Mark is the co-chair of the Baltimore Communities Foundation's Initiative on Race, Inclusion, and Diversity, and serves on that board as a director in a volunteer role. He consults with and offers advice to dozens of our organizations, proof that the success of one mission-based organization is success for all. It goes without saying that Mark was recognized as one of the most influential Marylanders by the Daily Record. Now, I could go on and on, but I think by now you guys get the drift. Mark is just a really good guy and does really good things. So, on behalf of the Associated, our entire board of directors, I want to say that we're incredibly fortunate to have Mark Terrell at the helm of the Associated. Mark, may you and the entire family go from strength to strength. Now I'd like to invite Diana, Maddie, Eli, and Samantha to join us.
You said you've talked enough about these 4 pillars that you deserve something like this. So, Barbara, thank you. So I appreciate if everybody gives me a few minutes to tell you what I think, and just a reflection on this past 10 years. I've actually been waiting 10 years in order to deliver this. So what makes Jewish Baltimore so incredibly special? That secret sauce that I've been talking about over the last months and years, it's pervaded the entirety of this annual meeting. It's about vision, it's about intentionality, it's about action, it's about resolve, it's about paying tribute to the other, and about paying tribute to collective memory, and most importantly, it's about people and by extension, community. In Baltimore, Maryland, in Jewish Baltimore, you hear me? Community matters. I moved here some years ago, knowing very few in Baltimore, and knowing even less about Baltimore itself. That said, the allure for me to move from New York City and move to Baltimore, single and alone, had everything to do with the storied reputation of this Baltimore Jewish community. Early professional mentors pointed to a highly organized, highly dedicated, highly motivated, and tremendously proud community. The community which set the ship Exodus a sail on its historic journey. The community that received Golda Meir when she came to the United States and came to Baltimore in order to secure the funds, the financial resources, in order to cement Israel's future and its eventual place on the world map. The community that gave birth to so many of the great leaders of modern Jewish time. And I see Shoshana Carter, and I want to thank you, Shoshana, for being here today. The community that received high praise in all circles of international communal commentary. Baltimore was intriguing, and quite frankly, for me, a young Jewish communal professional, it was a resume builder. I was thrilled with my decision to move here and eager to start my life and become part of the Baltimore Jewish community fabric. Then, a big dose of my new Baltimore reality started to set in. Day one after moving. Morning brunch at Manny's at Green Spring Shopping Center, which is now Miller's Deli. I was sitting alone and a couple leaned over to me and said, "Why is a Jewish guy sitting all by themselves, eating by themselves, having brunch?" And I said, "I'm a relative newcomer." And I said, "I've been here for 2 days." They said to me, "We're a newcomer too. We've been here for 21 years. I should have known that. Now he's bringing me water and not a Diet Coke. I'm so disappointed. Day two. Buying household supplies at Fields. The salesperson says to me, "Where'd you go to school?" I said, University of Florida. The reply with abundance of attitude was, "I didn't mean that. I meant where you went to high school." I should have known then. I should have known then that Baltimore is different. Day three, first day of work, and I was told that it was going to take 20 minutes to get into the office. I took the JFX downtown. I allowed 50 minutes to get down to the Associated. The JFX was packed. And the traffic report on the radio, and I remind you, I grew up in Miami, Florida. Severe delays because of the sun at the turn by the Pepsi sign. I envisioned that the actual sun was sitting on the JFX. Again, I probably should have known that. Day 5. I was given a couple of days to adapt to my new trauma. My first meeting with my new mentor and friend, Daryl Freeman. Daryl, if you could please stand up. Please. Before I could even get into the background of my new assignments, he turned to me, and this is the end, it's the truth. He says to me, "It's probably better that you're not dating Baltimore. Everybody here is related." At that point, I knew when I called my mother and I said, "Mom, Dorothy is a long, long way from Kansas." Baltimore is different, and what is different is also incredibly endearing. But its quirks are not its essence. The essence of what is Jewish Baltimore is what I started with. It's about vision, it's about intentionality, it's about resolve, and it's about family. And the community has not wavered from that essence, not for 1 minute. So 10 years as president of the Associated has been an incredible blessing for me and for my family. It's been an incredible gift to be part of something bigger than yourself. Those who elect not to are really missing out on something incredibly special. And I mean that to my core. It is not my intention to recount collective accomplishments over the last 10 years. I just saw my daughter take a sigh of relief. That's not permitted. You all know what we've accomplished individually and collectively, the challenges that we've addressed, the opportunities that we've seized, and they are nothing short of stunning. Just think about what's happened over the last 10 years. We're talking about new programs, mergers of agencies, cost savings, new responses to opportunities and challenges, and being there for people that literally have no other place to turn. They're relying on us, and we did that together as a community. That said, there is so much more to do. When I recently had the pleasure of being in the presence with many of the people in this room, with Shimon Peres, the president of the state of Israel, who is, I'm glad to say, celebrating his 90th birthday, he said that Jewish people are the people of dissatisfaction. We are never satisfied with where we are, and we're always striving for better. There's so much truth, and there is so much wisdom in that statement. And that goes back to the essence of Jewish Baltimore. We need to do better because we know what better means. We know what better means. I want to touch on where we go from here, but please allow me a few thank yous. To my Baltimore family. The Associated and its network of agencies. You are my partners, my inspiration, my energy. You are incredibly talented professionals, administrators, volunteer leadership, donors, foundations, activists. You are the heart and the conscience of this community, and I thank you. I thank you, I thank you. To the public sector, Baltimore City, County, Annapolis, DC, your partnership is incredibly invaluable. To my kin and my clan, the Terrells, the Roscoes, the Oliphants, the Orvitzes, and the Boasts. You are so special and I love you. To my incredible kids, and I wanted to ask Maddie, Eli, and Samantha to please stand. Eli is someplace playing outside, so just the girls, please stand. How lucky am I? To Daryl Friedman, my longtime friend and mentor, if you could please stand. You nurtured me, but you also allowed me to be me. I'm so touched that you're here tonight. To the incredible Associated management team and staff who I have the privilege of working with, you are second to none. To the tireless and devoted chairs of the board who I've been so blessed to work with since returning here from Boston, a group of extraordinary men and women who are my family. I'm going to ask you to stand. First of all, the initiator, Barbara Enrich. And a blessed memory, Sonny Plants. The bridge to the next generation, Carol Seiler. I'm asking you guys to stand, you gotta listen. The next generation and the children of Ben Greenwald, Janine Maxfield, Jimmy Berg, Bruce Schulk, and of course Howard Friedman. The community needs to know the depth of your passion, your intellect, your commitment, and resolve. How fortunate are we? And I've seen in the room, and I may be missing a few, some of the other chairs of the board that I've been blessed to work with as well. John Kolker, Buddy Zamoski, Sam Hilmerich, Shoshana Carden. The list probably goes on, and I might have missed somebody that came into the room. By the way, I am so blessed to have this community that comes out not only for an annual meeting, but to meet my children. Thank you. And to two women that I hold in such esteem and regard. First of all, Sharon Eldridge, where are you? My assistant for 15 years. You're my friend, my confidant, and my support. You're a good neshama, you're a good soul, and I thank you so much. It is the air I breathe. Thank you for your love, friendship, and support. So the future. A few years ago, the Associated undertook a community study to ascertain where we are as a community and where we stood on key indicators. The community was conducted by social scientists and demographers. This was not based on anecdotes and on fiction, it was based on reality, rooted in science, and viewed through objective and discerning frames of reference. As a point of fact, the study is available on the internet. You can see the executive summary and the expanded summary as well, or the expanded version. This type of study is undertaken by the Associated every 10 years and is meant to be a planning tool, not just for the Associated system, but for the entire community. Even though our community dramatically moved key indicators in a favorable direction from the prior study, there are current issues that present that we need to address. So, broad stroke findings. We are a community where in increased cases, the structure of the nuclear family has changed. We are a community seeking meaning and relevance in its institutions, and in many cases, people report they're not finding that meaning in a lot of our institutions, and we have to change the course. We are a community that has had explosive growth both in the youngest and the oldest sectors of our community. We are a community that's made up, and many Baltimoreans that are natives will not believe this, we're a community made up of 50% who grew up here and 50% who are not from here. And that's very instructive for us. We are a community that has seen intense social trauma from the economic realities and what's going on in the world. We are a community of diverse religious practice. We are a community, and this is an important one, that scores high on its sense of yearning to belong and feeling proud of our heritage and tradition. In other words, we have incredible opportunities, but we have a great deal of challenges. There's obviously a lot more in the study, but that is more or less a top-line result of what is going on. So now what to do? Through the leadership of the Associated Community Planning Team, countless presentations and conversations have taken place with key stakeholders, with associated leadership, with associated agencies, with synagogues, with grassroots organizations, and for that matter, anybody that wanted to dialogue about the future of our community. The intent is to align our strategy so that we're all rowing in the proverbial same direction. Some new initiatives have already been put into place, but the planning commissions are analyzing data to drill down, and their charge is to come up with innovation. But going forward, all this has to be in a context. And that context needs to be an affirmation of what we stand for as a federation and as a community. So today, in other words, I want to reveal and unveil our mission, vision, and values. So I present to you somewhat of a modern-day miracle. A rendition of the Associated System's mission, vision, and values, which was conceived, discussed, and agreed upon by hundreds of Jews over several months, was vetted by dozens of august bodies. There were healthy discussions, some wordsmithing, but I repeat, agreement by hundreds of Jews on one document, which we're going to unveil right now. So here we go, mission, vision, and values. In terms of the mission of the Associated Jewish Community Federation of Baltimore strengthens and nurtures Jewish life by engaging and supporting community partners in greater Baltimore, Israel, and around the world. In essence, we do not need to own everything. Our system needs to engage in collaboration with partners that are going to advance the agenda. Vision statement. The Associated will secure the resources necessary to address the evolving landscape of Jewish life, ensuring a vibrant community for generations to come. In essence, which I've said to our leadership and to our staff, hopes and dreams without the financial resources are delusions. So yes, the Associated is a fundraising organization. We can't apologize for that. We're developing human and financial capital to advance our agenda for the present and into the future. And I hope everybody celebrates that. Core values. One people. A commitment to Kol Yisrael. The link between Jewish people in greater Baltimore, Israel, and around the world. Repairing the world, Tikkun Olam. Making a positive difference in the world through the pursuit of social justice. We have adopted neighborhoods in Baltimore, the Oliver Street neighborhood, East Baltimore Development Corporation. We've adopted 6 schools in the inner city of Baltimore. We are of Baltimore. We need to advance things throughout the city and region in concert with other people of faith and otherwise that want to move agenda. Respect. A diverse community that is respectful, accessible, and welcoming. This is not about tolerance and acceptance. This is about respect. We have a diverse community and we need to celebrate that. Education, lifelong Jewish learning, and meaningful experiences. Whether it's the Diller program or Birthright Israel, we're putting more emphasis on making sure that our kids are nourished and that we have meaningful experiences. Engagement, active participation of people in all facets of Jewish life. The Jewish Volunteer Connection has been the big idea for me and for us. It's not about Jewish literacy, it's not about the amount of money you have, it's about your desire, if you have a heart that beats within you, to want to advance social good. Innovation speaks for itself, in collaboration. We're working with a number of different organizations, synagogues, grassroots organizations, national and international organizations to make sure that we're advancing the social good. We have opportunities at every aspect of our mission, and we are poised to continue a healthy and vibrant Jewish life. We can do this even with the quirkiness of Baltimore that I alluded to before. And we can do this in very dramatic ways. So I thank you for being here with me this evening, and for all that you're doing, and for being part of my and our community's hopes and dreams. Thank you very much.